I'm Teacher Mike, and today we are talking about weight, or how much things weigh. Weight is the noun, weigh is the verb. So you can ask someone, how much do you weigh? Or, what is your weight? If you're not a doctor, you probably shouldn't ask someone those questions because asking about someone's weight is not very polite. However, just as an example, if you ask me, Mike, how much do you weigh? I would answer, I weigh 74 kilograms. I could also reply, my weight is 74 kilograms. That's correct too. However, we don't usually say that. When we're talking about ourselves, we usually use the verb weigh. I weigh 74 kilograms. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is how to use the verb weigh. And to help us in this lesson, we have some objects that I have found in my home. And I also have two digital scales. I have two because this one is good for things that weigh more than 100 grams. And this one is good for things that weigh less than 1 gram. So the first thing that we have today is this. This is a holy basil leaf. Holy basil is an herb that is common in Thai cooking. It's not common in the United States, but I grow some so that I can cook Thai food with it. This is one popcorn kernel. So corn is uncountable. However, you can count these. These are called kernels. This one is for popcorn, so it's a popcorn kernel. Got this ball, which is called a ping pong ball, or a table tennis ball, depending where you are. This is called a gumdrop, or a spice drop, and this is a type of candy that you will see in the United States. I don't usually eat candy, but I usually buy this in the winter, or I buy these, many of them. I buy these in the winter because I use them to decorate gingerbread houses. This is called a cardamom pod. Cardamom is a spice that is common in Indian food. This stuff is called thread, and the thing that it's on, this plastic thing, is called a spool. So this is a spool of thread. This is a plastic funnel. This stuff is called steel wool. Steel wool is used to remove rust from metal. And finally, I've got a pair of gloves, a pair of gloves that I stole from my wife. Let's go ahead and start with the holy basil leaf, because I think this probably weighs less than all of the other items. But let's find out. Okay, so the holy basil leaf weighs 0.39 grams, or 39 hundredths of a gram. So a little bit less than half of a gram. Then, if we've got the cardamom pod and the popcorn kernel, which one do you think weighs more? They feel pretty much the same to me, but let's find out. The popcorn kernel is 0.19 grams, or 19 hundredths of a gram. The cardamom pod also weighs 0.19 grams. So actually, these two things weigh the same amount. Both of them weigh 0.19 grams. Okay, then we've got the gumdrop and the steel wool. Again, I think they feel pretty similar, but let's find out. So the gumdrop weighs 3.59 grams. Oh, wow. The steel wool weighs 8.56 grams. So the steel wool actually weighs more than twice as much as the gumdrop. I know that the ping pong ball is lighter than all of these things. It weighs less than all of these things. So I want to compare it to something different. Let's say the gumdrop. I forget how much the gumdrop weighs. Okay, so again, the gumdrop is about 3.6 grams. 2.32 grams. So the gumdrop weighs about 1 gram more than the ping pong ball. Okay, now let's go to the heavier scale and weigh the final 3 objects. So again, we've got the plastic funnel, the spool of thread, and the pair of gloves. I think that the pair of gloves is probably heavier than the other 2 items. It probably weighs more. These 2 probably weigh less than the pair of gloves, but let's find out. Okay, the spool of thread weighs 16 grams. Oh, yeah, pretty close. The plastic funnel weighs 19 grams. So the plastic funnel weighs 3 grams more than the spool of thread. I'm going to guess that these gloves, or this pair of gloves, weighs about 45 grams. I don't know. Let's find out. Ooh, not too far off. Not too far off means that my guess was pretty close. So I guessed that the pair of gloves weighs 45 grams, and actually it weighs 51 grams. So the pair of gloves weighs 6 grams more than I guessed it did. So yeah, these are just some things that I have in my house that I wanted to talk about to make sure that you understand how to use weigh.